Good morning or good day.
Hello, good day, good morning.
Give it a moment. We got a few people showing up supposedly this morning. Barb Triple E, what graced us with this? I didn't expect you today. That's awesome. Can't see you yet. What a wonderful surprise.
Well, how nice. Thank you.
I don't see you yet. There we go. Nice to see you. Chloe is right here, of course, too. And Kara, I'm not sure if you remember Kara, but she says she should be joining us too. She just texted me a little while ago looking for the code. So happy Halloween coming. I'm wearing my wizard shirt. I even
I
have
see that.
for this presentation my wizard hat. So this is handmade. It's not that great, but it has some very important symbols to me. For example, I don't know if you'll be able to see, I don't know if I'll be able to turn around, but I didn't just go from top up where you see me on the video. I'm wearing the pants too. The whole bit. I'm not shortchanging anybody. So let's see if I can show you on the back. Can you see the back?
Oh wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Cool.
that's a Kundalini thing that I made and put on the shirt for my Kundalini. So basically, when I was a young boy, 12, 13, 14, 15, my LSD days, I was absolutely kind of obsessed with Jimmy Page doing Dazed and Confused live to Madison Garden, and the whole video that went with it was which is a mystical ceremony, which very few people know that's a ceremony. And he's in this amazing outfit on stage that was kind of like this. So I mimicked it when I was around 13, and I kind of revived it several years ago. Anyway, I have something to celebrate and something to mourn. And I'm going to share this real quick. Very worldly things. The celebration. The mourning is way more eclipses the celebration, unfortunately. But the celebration is my Los Angeles Dodgers had a world record game last night with a walk-off grand slam home run in the 10th inning. That has never occurred before. It was exciting. It was fun. It was a terrific game from beginning to end. And that's my celebration. And I
It
really,
was fun.
it wasn't just that my team won game one of the game's 7 series. That the game itself was absolutely riveting and exciting. And I'm kind of relaxed. I'm not like you. Usually, I'm kind of well, they gotta win. Like I'm so stressed out. Now I'm kind of like I'm just kind of relaxed. I'm enjoying it. Now the morning in my YouTube feed this morning, I was scrolling down and I saw. Oh my God, I feel the emotions coming up. I just found out, so it's not even hit me yet. Phil Lesh, the bass player for the Grateful Dead, died last night. Now, this is not just a bass player for a rock band. This is a composer, classically trained. Barb, you'd appreciate this. His history, college experience, classically trained in multiple things, and he's a sound engineer. He is an absolute brilliant genius of a man. And his role within the Grateful Dead, one of the founding members from 1964, was pivotal. He is well loved, and there will be vigils, I guarantee, around the world to honor him and remember him. So somewhere in the next handful of days, I'm sure I'm going to find something nearby me. I'm not going to go to San Francisco. That's going to be chaos. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. They're already converging in Haight-Ashbury to 710 and the Panhandle where they used to play. So I'm not going to go up there. But anyway, this is going to be a very significant morning. When Jerry passed, there was vigils all around the country as well. And I will never forget that thousands of us converged in Griffith Park in Los Angeles to mourn together. It's such a unity and brotherhood and sisterhood within the Deadhead culture that is unparalleled. It's not just the music. It is the spirit of it. What they do and what they had is absolutely magical. So anyway, I just found this out, and I know that over the course of the day, it's really going to kind of hit me and piss me off a little bit. And here we are talking about death. We're going to be talking about Halloween reading, which happens to be a lot about death because that's what Halloween much is about. Now, let's launch into this. To quote my own book, to celebrate life, you must understand death. Death makes us honor and celebrate life. That's what it's about. It's not an ending. It typically is a beginning. And I will say this, and this is what I thought on my walk just a while ago, that Phil Lesh's passing is not a beginning of anything. It's just an ending. Nothing is going to be born from him being gone, creating a void, because there is no void that anybody can fill with him being gone. So sometimes endings are just endings, but generally, the death concept represents and reminds us that it's always a new beginning. So we're going to go into some of the symbolism. I'm going to do a live reading here today. Now, I've not done it yet myself, kind of reviewed it, and I like to do it kind of live and fresh. So I've done the correspondences. As everybody here has received readings from me before, so I'm going to say correspondences. There's a reading for numerology, tarot, astrology, the I-ching hexagram, and a Kabbalist tree of life path. And when I looked into it, they're pretty much, we're very fortunate because it could have been anything for any year, but we have some ones that are lined up perfectly for the Halloween concept. So again, the beauty is that to understand life and to honor life, you have to understand death. We talk a lot about death here, the near-death experience. I mean, this whole platform is based on my death experience in the book, etc. And yet, I don't ever feel like I am dark and down. There are some very heavy, heavy moments, to say the least, within my book and the story. But I still to this day and ongoing feel that the consistent theme within the story and the account is inspiring. That it's reminding people all the time to be aware of your death. Death is coming. You can't stop it. It's inevitable. So make the most of the way you're living today. And here we are doing our sadhana, joining in a satsang to honor and celebrate something that goes beyond all that. The death concept is a reminder that there is no such thing. That death is simply an ending and a closing, but it's always a beginning of something else. I'd like to share the screen. I mean, again, I was writing a blog post and an email campaign for a totally different topic. And I was working away on it. I mean, I was really putting a lot of time into it, and I was kind of frustrated because it was kind of, I don't know, what it wasn't rolling. It was going kind of we're going to take a few rewrites. Anyway, then I came up after a couple of hours of this idea of doing a reading for Halloween, on Halloween. And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I want to do it. That sounds fun. And I started to look into it in the correspondence. I'm like, oh my God, this is destined. They're perfect. You know, we're not getting a Halloween that happens to have, I don't know, like the world card, or you know, the Knight of Swords or anything like that. Some kind of random. We're getting the crux of it. So let me share my screen and share some of that. Yeah, you'd think I'd find it quicker since there's a big green button on the toolbar that says share, and that's the only one that I don't see. All right. All right, let's see what we got here. So many things to click. All right. Nice little image here. A cosmic reading for Halloween 2024. Have a horrifically happy Halloween. I'm old school. I'm cool with kids dressing up like princesses and pirates, but be a dead zombie one. Put the blood out, be scary. Don't sit there and celebrate and just twinkle around like a princess. Be a dead princess. So have a horrifically happy Halloween. Don't have a happy Halloween. That's not what it's about. Now, let's get to some of these correspondences. So we're going to do, again, a reading, which people here are familiar with. This is going to be a little bit more beneficial, some of this explanation for the people that have not familiar with this. This is the, oh wait, am I missing something? There we go. This is the system that harmonizes numerology, tarot, sacred geometry, astrology, I-ching, and tree of life in one single system. This is the blueprint that it gets framed around, the Pythagorean right triangle, the theorem, triangle theorem. I'm already messing that up. He's a brilliant guy. I'm just a stupid human. So the wonderful thing is that as numerology, tarot, sacred geometry, astrology, parts of this were integrated hundreds of years ago by mystics that are not. We don't know who did this, revealed and discovered it, but they fit like puzzle pieces together. They snap right together. And in 2015, I finally fulfilled what I wanted to do for many, many years, which is to integrate I-ching and Tree of Life with it as well. So we have one system that gives us access to all these modalities to be able to get layers and layers of research and insights to them. Here's the cool thing. Doesn't matter what we read into. Typically, of course, we read into people, and that's what I'm doing. I'm doing readings for people, their lives, their experiences, their events in their life, et cetera, et cetera. But I can read into anything. And it's not me. This system can read into anything. Inanimate objects. I can do a reading on a car, and I did for somebody. Some guy was buying a car and he was like trying to get some insights to that. And so I plugged in his blueprint the date, and his name was Ryan, and I just said Ryan's new car. So that was the topic. That was like the name that I used in the reading, and it was alarmingly accurate. Matter of fact, I warned him of some things, and sure enough, he crashed the car. And it was pretty accurate. So let's go a little bit further. Let me tell you a little bit about myself here. I don't know why there's only 2 pictures showing there. Let me see what else comes up. So I'm a master alchemist, a bhakti yogi, a tantric yogi, a kundalini and third-degree ceremony magician. So I'm a little bit qualified. I think that I qualify as a so-called real deal. As people hear, and some people will be aware that I am somewhat irritated by people that go around talking about all kinds of spiritual things and don't have ever done the work. And I'm not saying I'm better than anything. I'm not trying to do this from a point of pride. I'm saying that I want people to know that what I'm speaking of, I'm qualified. I put in the time. I went to college, so to speak, not your conventional facilities. I went to mystical college. I've been training and studying my whole life. And I don't subscribe nor communicate or share my own theories. I stay true to the eternal truths and the original theorems of these things, and I try to explain them in accessible terms for people that are new to it. So here we have Halloween 10/31/2024. So you can see again, like you can use anything you want. I can do it on a car, I can do it on your pet, do it on your current month, your current day, current hour. So we're going to do a reading on the actual date of Halloween 2024. So the numerology is real simple. 10/31/2024, which equals a 49, which equals a 13, which would equal a 4. So we're going to stick with the 13. There's another one. I got all kinds of surprises in here. Now, here's the reading. I don't know if you guys, can you see this? Is it big enough? So you can see what I did is you have the birth date there as 10/31/2024, which numerologically comes down to a 49 over a 13 over a 4. So we distill these down to the basic digit, which is 13, and then it distills down further to a 4. So we work with 13. That's general. I confess that if I'm doing somebody's reading, I use both. I'm going to do the 49, 13, and the 4 because I'm very thorough and I go through all the details. Today, we're going to go with the 13/4. Now, for the name, I went ahead and went further because I'm a little fixated on stuff and I'm always fascinated by it. And so I entered in the name up here. You can see up towards the top, Halloween 2024. And I do the numerology on the name of it. We got 51/6 in the vowels and a 72/9 in the consonants. So this is the blueprint, what it would look like. And we have the correspondences here. Let me see if you can, there you go. So the light purpose would be, again, from the date. And we have the correspondences. The number is 13. And I don't make this stuff up. I mean, I'm just doing the math. It just is what it is. It has its own things and vibrations. It has its own astrology, its own numerology, its own tarot. It has its own thing. I'm just a report. I'm just reporting the facts. The number is 13. The tarot card associated with 13 is death. The astrology affiliation and correspondence is Scorpio. The I-ching hexagram is Tungen, fellowship. And the tree of life path is Nun for fish, which is what that means in Hebrew. So that's kind of what it looks like. Right away, we see like this is just kind of undeniable. I mean, what more would we want from a Halloween reading than the card of death, right? Oh, you're not supposed to do that. What are you doing? You need to go to the next screen. Oh, I got some kind of, I don't know how to turn that off. I don't know how to turn that off now. Wait,
Use the arrow key instead. See if
I
it-
know I couldn't find it. There we go. I just got lucky. I have no idea. I'll never do it again. So again, we have 13 as the numerology. Obviously, we all have these connotations of 13. Unlucky 13. 13 does indeed represent death, endings, closure.
What?
It's sucking so much dirt out of the house into that filter that it's gonna plug up. You said darken it.
Okay, who's is that Kara?
Yeah.
Can you turn up either turn off your mic? I can hear you guys talking in the background, please. But nice to have you here. Been a while.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm gonna go ahead because there's a lot of volume here. There's so many beautiful quotes. So I'm gonna read a little bit. The key words for this Halloween of 2024 numerologically is change, release, and transformation. The number 13 is associated with suspicion and misconception. Well, yeah, that's what we do. We dress in costume, become something else, right? So that seems accurate. Now, death is merely change. When we are born into this life, we die from another level of existence. When we marry, we die as a single entity and are reborn as a duo. The death connotation of 13 has arisen because most people respond to the lower side, immersion in fleshly desires and encapsulation in matter. Death then occurs through destruction and degeneration of the body. A few people resonate to the higher side of 13, which is what we're going to talk about, which involves complete satisfaction of attainment through regeneration or using the tremendous powers of this number to create and leave something of value with the world. That's why I wanted to read from the book today a little bit, because that is beautifully said. And as I thought of Phil Lesh this morning and reread this, I'm like, that's exactly right. Leaving something behind. This is what we're all trying to do, is leave something behind and create something for our next life incarnations in the same actions. Making a difference. There's enormous potential for ultimate attainment and equally great potential for complete destruction. It is all or nothing. So 13 is not an in-between gray line. It is an all or nothing vibration. And again, the key words there and the concept of suspicion and misconceptions, which I say is playful. What do we do on Halloween? We dress up as something else. We get to pretend and play. As children, we do it all the time. But as adults, we get to do this for fun. Once a year. It's a lot of fun. It's exciting to be something different. Today, I'm a wizard. I'm in one every day, but today I'm putting on the wardrobe too. Only through the let's see, I read that. Only through the death of present circumstances can you be released, free to open the door for progress. So when we talk about death with 13, we're not just talking about a literal material death, death of concepts, death of ideas, death of paradigms that no longer fit us. What we can do is we can capitalize, exploit, take advantage of the 13 vibration frequency that's happening during this time and all the time. And we can ride on its current to seek closure with things, to resolve things, and to resurrect from things. If we're not using this vibration, we're wasting it. It's interesting to talk about and observe. it's a lot of fun when trick-or-treaters come by and see their costumes, see how cute they are and all that kind of stuff. And again, I'm a maniac. I had haunted garages in my house. And I was laughing my ass off yesterday because I had a memory. My ex, her son was a big boy. Okay. My haunted garage was a maze. And you walked through it, trick-or-treaters would come. If you wanted your treat, you had to go through the maze. And I had cautioned people because it was kind of scary. You know, I wasn't holding back. Smoke and blood and darkness and strobe lights and black lights and all kinds of stuff. And the funny memory is that as some of the little kids left, we're talking like 5 and 6 years old. We're talking some really small children. And here I am laughing at it again as it comes up in my head. My ex's son was a big boy, 6 foot, 235 pounds or so. And for fun, he was the guy that usually at the end of the maze has like the chainsaw that kind of chases after you, that kind of thing. He chased these kids down the street till they were screaming and crying. He just wouldn't stop. He didn't realize it. He was just having fun, and until one of us was like, "Whoa, Cody, stop, man! You're traumatized." He was just having fun. It wasn't intentional, but I will never forget. He was a maniac. He lost his mind. He was chasing after these little tiny children that were screaming, and he thought that's Halloween. They're supposed to be screaming, right? Thought he was doing a good job. So again, it's an opportunity to flow with this current of closures, change, transformation, to honor this. This means that this is an opportunity to think of things that you're dealing with. Think of things that you want resolved and flow with this current. Plug into it, connect with it, ask for its assistance. Feel its vibrations within the air, within the culture, within around with our environments and within us. It's all around. This is a 13. This date around the world is a 13. That's what it equals for all of us universally throughout the entire universe. So we can all share in that. It's not, again, there's a very general sense of this that we can take advantage of. Now, go a little further. Be prepared to meet fresh ideas, new people, and stimulating conditions. Sounds like trick or treat to me. This is a reconstruction period, which can bring great happiness if you make the right decisions. The events that occur may not necessitate physical action on your part, but they will require you to make the proper assessments. Change is the basis of earthly manifestation. Upon the wave of change, you can sail to a new fertile land where a fresh lifestyle is possible. Release from the past is followed by renewal, which brings changes that promote growth. I'm going to repeat that. That was beautiful. Release from the past is followed by renewal, which brings changes that promote growth. That's what fall is all about, right? Everything that falls off and decays in our environment falls into the soil and re-enriches it, revitalizes it. This is a time to depart, to travel, and to grow. The cyclical force of nature reigns here as the old is replaced by the new. And here's a quote that I use often that many people don't quite get. The king is dead, long live the king. I think that phrase has so many layers to it. The king is dead. It's time to mourn. And yet, in that system, all it means is a new one is taking charge. Hopefully, it's a good thing. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing reminder that things are forever. That we can persist, we can continue to ride with this. And again, the king is dead. There's the morning. Long live the king. It's a fresh start. It's a new opportunity. There is no change. There is no ending. It's just changing. The autumn and the Halloween festivals and the harvest remind us of this. This is a day of celebration to synchronize and harmonize with this energy and flow with it. And we do that by honoring it, by dressing up, and by having a good time and smiling. So now we get to Find my little pointer here. Likes to hide. The card of death. Now, what we see here in this image is death on a white horse. He is poised. He is in charge. Nothing crude or scary really about him. He's not doing anything intimidating. And what we see here is with the people there, we have what looks like a king or a priest, a child, and another individual, a mother. And this is reminding us that death comes to all. No matter what station or status you have in life, death comes to all. And yet behind this, there are two pillars right here in the background. I can't like point this. It's there. You can see it, right? And the sun is coming up. Again, what I love about the Rider-Waite, what I love about what this deck has designed is it has so many layers to it. Every detail has meaning to it. And we don't notice them. The sun coming up between the two pillars, not just sun coming up, but between two pillars, the pillars represent material manifestations, the things we create. The sun coming up, again, showing regeneration and new life. So as one thing dies, another one begins to take life and live. Death is not sinister. Death is not evil. Death serves a very important role. Let me go to some notes here. Yeah, I want to make sure I don't forget many of these things. The key word corresponding to this card are fish, fish's mouth, or mouth of the uterus. Now we're going to see in the Tree of Life correspondence that it is nun, which is fish in Hebrew. Again, the correlation between tarot and Tree of Life is essential. Tarot is the pictorial version of the Tree of Life. It comes from the Tree of Life. That's its origins. So I never separate them, which is why, again, in 2015, I reintegrated. When I saw this system, I knew that Tree of Life belonged. And they added another layer into it, which is why I do it last, because it has so many different layers to it. The symbol suggests reproduction and birth, not necessarily into this world, but rather rebirth of the consciousness into higher planes. This, again, is classic for Halloween. We are venturing to the other side. We are sampling it, witnessing it, celebrating it, contemplating it. This festival, this celebration, and again with a collective consciousness, when all of us are thinking in these sort of similar terms, we create an atmosphere that allows us access to the mysteries. The portal dimension, the other side, is typically inaccessible to us. It's always there. But we got to do the work to be able to connect with it. It's always there regardless of what we're doing with it. What Halloween, and this particular Halloween, is giving us the opportunity to do is to contemplate and connect with it, have a relationship with the other side, the portal dimension, where the mysteries lie, the Akashic records, all knowledge and truth are stored within them. Again, to celebrate and honor this rather than fear it, to see the beauty and the magic of it. And that's what Halloween has done for me all my life. The beauty and the magic and the mystery. I want to be scared my whole life. Since I was a little child when I learned to read at 4 years old, all I wanted was ghost stories. I would tell my mom, take me to the library. I'm 4 or 5 years old and I can read. And I'm like, and I would get stacks. They would let you take out maybe 6, 7 books and you could only keep them for, I think it was 2 weeks back then. And I had just one ghost story book after another. All right. And every one of them, I was like, well, that sucks. Because it was for kids. Right. They all had happy endings and logical explanations. And I was like, this is bullshit. I want to be scared. I want terror and blood and fear. I want haunted. I don't want some happy ending where everything's rationally explained. This is bullshit. I really was disappointed. I wanted to be scared because it brought me to extremes. It was unusual. It was extraordinary. Even at 4 and 5 years old, the world to me was boring. I was born into this life with awareness of my past lives. I was very aware. And right away, early on, I'm like looking at the world thinking, is this all you got? Is this it? It's a beautiful place. It's a good place to visit, but I don't want to live here. And so I want to experience things that were extreme, intense, extraordinary. And fear did that. And yet I couldn't get scared. I wanted it and I was intrigued by it, but no matter what I was doing, I wasn't getting scared. And I was trying my ass off. Haunted houses, scary books, everything. And nothing was scaring me. Then I read The Amityville Horror when I was, I think, 13. Holy shit, that book scared the hell out of me. I wouldn't walk down the hall at night to go to my room. I didn't want to go down there alone. I was totally terrified. I was like, this is amazing. I was loving it. What kind of kid is like, I mean, I couldn't get enough. I just wanted more and more of it. To this day, I still love being scared, and I can't get scared. And again, it's because
I live 2 towns away from that house.
do you?
I did when that
As you
happened.
know, Barb, you and I talk a lot because you're in Ohio. Ohio is a very special place for me. And my favorite Halloween haunt throughout these many states, I've been to dozens and dozens of Halloween haunts, from Chicago to Washington to Oregon to Los Angeles, all over Los Angeles and Southern California. I've been doing it for years. One of my all-time favorites was in Ohio, and it's outdoor. Anyway, so yeah, the reason I wanted to be scared again is because it was extreme. It was extraordinary. It was uncommon. It was not mundane. And I didn't care what it was. Now, the downside is this striving, this craving for something extreme and extraordinary also led me to drugs, which in many ways has its upside, but a lot of my drug abuse had some very serious downsides because I always wanted more and more and more. This isn't scary enough. Some of the drugs I did are extremely terrifying. And yet I was like, yeah, that's cool. Whatever. What else you got? What else? What's next? Again, the theme here, to be reminded that death is mysterious. Death can be dark. But not only is it a beautiful part of the living and experience and existence, and poetic and artful, it also intrigues us. It's one of the first and ongoing things in our existences that makes us curious. Mystery causes us to want to know. It causes a relentless curiosity, a persistence. We want to know. What do we want to know? We want to know what we don't know. Doesn't matter what it is. Anything we don't know, suddenly we want to know it. A moment ago we didn't care. Now that we hear about it, what's that? I want the answer. Curiosity is a magical phenomena. And this is what Halloween represents. And this Halloween 2024 with these correspondences represents that emphatically. It's beautiful. So that again is another layer of the way to celebrate and acknowledge the Halloween frequency, vibration, atmosphere, is to honor and love the intrigue. The fact that for this time of year, instead of fearing death, we get to celebrate and honor it. We get to look at it in a more fun way, like children do. Now, the next correspondence. Astrological. Okay, this was a total surprise, and I was like, okay, I'm so glad I decided to do this reading. Oh, should I be wearing my wizard hat? So what we have is, on October 31st, the moon is in Libra, okay? The whole day. At 5:35 p.m., and I know Barbie asked you is Pacific or I don't know. And so I will confess, I don't know what I just did the math. So it
Look it up.
exits, and I tried to, but anyway. So all day it's in Libra, which is a sign of balance and equations and things that are systematic and ordered. Libra's a very harmonizing and kind of balancing force, which is cool, right? And at 5:35, it exits Libra. And then there is no moon. It is void of course, which is kind of rare. Not rare, but I'm saying that this timing is unusual and it's pretty cool. And it is nowhere. So not only is it void of course, we have no moon. It is 0% illumination. 0% illumination. From around that time till 12:41 a.m. on November 1st, right after midnight. How cool is that? And then into Scorpio, which we all know. Pain in the ass, very mysterious, Scorpio. I love Scorpios. I also know to stay away from them many times. They're fun, but they're very mysterious. That's right. That's right. Chloe's birthday. When was your birthday?
The 30th.
The 30th. So we got a
Of
Halloween
October.
baby here. Got a Halloween baby. And she's Scorpio. But what's your rising?
I'm your typical Scorpio.
You are in many ways. You're pretty stubborn. You're pretty headstrong, and you are intrigued by and virtually addicted to the mysteries. And you like, and you don't want just nothing on. You like the mysterious stuff. You like the really kind of the stuff that most people would consider kind of dark. You're intrigued by that, right?
Yeah.
Classic Scorpio. Scorpios thrive on the mystery. They like to create it. They like to celebrate it, but they like to cause it. They want you to be mystified. They entertain themselves with this. So Scorpio does this. Scorpio is a point of entry and a point of hovering within the mysteries. So again, we have this unusual and phenomenal moon transition as we exit Libra at 5:35 on Halloween. And then we have nothing. Dark moon. Zero illumination. That's more rare than a full moon on Halloween. And again, I didn't do the math and Google the hell out of it, but I basically kind of looked into it. And we get a full moon, something like every 23 years, something like that on a Halloween. We had one several years ago. And again, have no moon. So in a way, it's disappointing because it's like, oh, full moon on Halloween is awesome because you get to see, like it's really puts all that light and it's absolutely mysterious and wonderful. But a no moon, totally dark, man. I mean, that's really cool. That means the trick-or-treaters can come in and like do their tricks and you can't see them. You got to be really paying attention. So I think that this is a magical aspect of the moon exiting Libra at 5:35 and being nowhere to be seen, gone till 12:40, just after midnight on November 1st. That's propitious. That's absolutely amazing. That's just a fun aspect. And again, when you put this together, in my view, that I spontaneously decided to do this little reading thing. And again, part of me when I first thought of it, I'm like, what if I look into the aspects and it's all like dull and boring? That won't be like a very good show. And then I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, like this is ideal. Like I couldn't design a better one. So these are our astrological aspects for this Halloween. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Look at the rarity of this. Then our I-ching correspondence, the hexagram of Tungjen, which means fellowship. So we go from this rather dark and mysterious stuff with Scorpio and the death card. And of course, I-ching contrasts that completely with something much more light. So Tungjen means fellowship. Right away, I'm thinking trick-or-treaters, Halloween parties. Listen, I thrived on Halloween parties when I was younger. Ain't nothing better as a single man to go out and see the girls dressed up in their sexy Halloween costumes and going to parties. I thrived on that. That was like my fantasy, you know? So fellowship, it's a time to get together. And whether you're going to parties, which I don't do anymore, or you're staying home, so here's my little trick for the trick-or-treaters. And I'm cruel. My front of my house all decorated. I got a ghoul out there and it's all kind of crude. Like I don't have like a bunch of expensive store-bought stuff. I make the stuff, right? I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying people like the crudeness of it. And so my house all decorated, basically saying, trick-or-treaters, come here. And I have no candy. I'm not buying any. I don't have a lot of trick-or-treaters here. And I'm not going to go buy a bunch of candy because I know what that's going to result in. It's going to be leftovers for me and I'm going to eat it. So I'm not doing it. I'm not spending the money. I'm not getting fat for these kids to give them a few treats. So the cruel thing is And it's true. When you decorate your house outside, you're basically saying trick or treaters come here. And I was going to order a sign that says no candy. Okay. But it was like $20 for the sign. I'm like, well, I might as well buy candy for that, so I didn't do that either. So I'm really a selfish prick. So my little Halloween trick to the trick or treaters is I'm all decorated and there's no candy here. And so I get to see them all in costume. They'll all come to my house, they'll come knock on my door, and then I get to turn them away. Then again, they might remember from me from last year doing the same thing.
You're so mean.
I know, right? But listen, it's Halloween. I'm supposed to be doing a trick. It's trick or treat. Trick or treat.
Perfect.
And I'm giving you the trick, no treat. It is kind of mean. And I'm enjoying it too. I'll probably feel guilty at some point. Anyway, so let's look to what the Book of Changes says for Tung Jen. Tung Jen indicates progress and success. That's encouraging. Now keep in mind that I-ching is often consulted for just making decisions. Should I do this or should I do that? Should I go forward with something or should I not? The first rule within the I-ching is you do not ask it yes or no questions. It won't answer them. And it says in the instructions, do not answer it yes or no questions. You got to ask it a question that warrants an actual response. How should I do something? Not if I should do something. Yes or no. So when it says indicates progress and success, generally in the surface layer, that is an indication that it's telling you a green line, whatever you're consulting it about. Go forward. The union of fellowship must be based entirely on public considerations. How is that not trick or treat related? That's perfect. Without taint of selfishness. Well, I guess I'm failing there because I'm putting on my decoration. I'm not giving any treats. So, but typically you're supposed to be handing out the treats, which is selfless, right? They come up and beg, "Hey, trick or treat, give me candy," and you give it to them. So again, I think that just fits perfectly. The union of fellowship must be based entirely on public considerations without taint of selfishness. It's ideal. It will be advantageous to cross the great stream and maintain the firm correctness of the superior man. Now, again, that's more about consultation. Those are the typical I-ching language about making the tough choices, making your commitments. Crossing the great stream refers to doing just that. Determination, that put in the work. And in a more metaphorical sense, on a spiritual mysterious context, crossing the great stream does indeed refer to crossing over, looking to the other side, accessing and contemplating and considering the other side, the other dimensions, not just the one that you're experiencing and what you see in front of you. So crossing the great stream is literally a reference to crossing over within the portal, the other dimensions, which Halloween gives us access to. During this time of Halloween is when the layers, the veils between our material existence and the spirit dimension are the thinnest. That's what it's about. To be able to observe, interact with, witness the other side and have it interact with us. It is a great time for seances and connections and psychic work and these kind of things because, again, the boundaries, the borders between them are the thinnest. We had just had the equinox, and again, all the mathematics, all the astrology indicates again and again that the layers between our realm and the spirit realm are the thinnest. This is truly how Halloween gains its reputation for being such a spiritual, ghost-like, phantom-oriented celebration, because we can access this. Again, what I love, I've always loved I-ching. It's been something I've been using since my early childhood, since my youth. And again, look at the contrast. Here we have the death card in the tarot. Scorpio after midnight coming for astrology, and then we have Tung Jen, which is something more light and more, again, very accurate. Again, being reminded that we have all these aspects, not just one, but they're all merged together. And look at this hexagram. One broken line the second one up. All the rest of them are solid lines of foundation. They're strong. Now, one broken line isn't a passageway. It's an entry or an exit. It's a thoroughfare for what can come to us and what can leave from us, what we can give and what we can take, trick or treat. This leads us to, hold on one second. Our next correspondence, which is the tree of life. And I got to find my, I'm just going to touch the screen. Oh, didn't work. There we go. Tree of life. Now, here is our tree of life with all the Sephiroth and the paths of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And this one so there's the close-up. And here's the path right here. I'm pointing at it. You can't see that, and I can't find my pointer again. So you can see from Tifereth, the yellow orb there, to Netzach, the green one. The path connecting them is Nun, fish. And the Hebrew letter there is Nun. And of course, the representation of it was death in Scorpio. Now, again, I don't create these things. This is the tree of life. This is the way it is. It's been this way for thousands of years. So let's explore a bit about the concept here. Fish, what's that got to do with death and Halloween and these kind of things? As was mentioned in this reading here, in the tarot part, that Nun, the Hebrew letter Nun, fish, means fish and represents, again, all of the letters in the Hebrew alphabet are concepts. They're not simply sounds of phonetic sounds. They have complete definitions to them. So Nun is technically the letter N for the sound, but you don't say that the letter. It is a word, and the word has a meaning and layers to it. So every one of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet is a complete entire concept that you can learn from. It takes you to be able to develop your consciousness. All of it does. So fish, let me use the key words that was given in here again. So I like them. Fish, fish's mouth, and mouth of the uterus represents the point of birth, the passage from one state to another. We all go from a rather abstract state within the womb to become part of the material manifestation as we exit the womb and travel through the birth canal to emerge into the material world. What a phenomenal, magical event that is. It is an ending of one thing, the safety and sanctuary of the womb, and the emerges into the bright, scary, terrifying, complicated, chaotic world. And the first thing they do is slap you on the ass and make you cry. Which does what? Makes you breathe. That's what it's for. But again, the beauty of the poetry of the concept that the first thing we experience as we emerge into the world is pain and suffering. And that pain and suffering inspires us, forces us to take a breath. We were floating in an amniotic sac of fluid, and now we got to learn how to breathe. So we were like a fish breathing through water, and now we got to breathe outside. So fish in the Hebrew alphabet is far more than meaning just a fish. Now, and Barb, I'm sure you're more aware of this than many others may be, the ichthys. Familiar with the
What?
ichthys?
The what?
The ichthys? No? Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know what you're saying.
Ichthys, the Greek word for fish, the symbol of the Christian word, the Christian fish.
Oh, ichthys. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know what
ichthys.
you were saying. I couldn't
Yeah.
hear what you were saying.
And I don't have
Yeah.
a picture of it, but what we see them on people's cars and all over the ichthys,
Yeah.
the fish symbol that says ichthys that in Greek inside of it. And again, this is an early Christian symbol that they used as they had to go underground because they were being persecuted. So they had these coded symbols and words and things they would use to identify each other. And this was one of them. Now, it's kind of hard to find fish reference in Christianity itself, other than, of course, feeding the multitudes, which is a pretty big event. But that's not technically what this represents or comes from. This again shows the absolute evidence of the link between Hebrew, Kabbalah, Judaism, and Christianity itself. They're not as separate as people may think they are. And again, what the ichthys represents and always did to the early Christians as they were forced underground or get killed, this symbol that they shared amongst each other, this little private secret symbol, was a way of identifying each other and it represented their determination. It was like, hey, I'm one of you. I got my ichthys too. It was a bond. And again, they know that in a picture says 1,000 words, that the concept of the ichthys and the concept of fish represents so much more than just an animal. And again, as we look at the fish, or it means fish's mouth, or mouth of the uterus, it is where things come from. It is the passage from one state to another. The birthing experience represents this, captures this, demonstrates this passage of one state to another. Now, again, my emergence from the womb, first of all, I was a nuchal baby, so I was born blue and dying. My first death experience was at birth. And I was like, hey, man, this sucks. I was pretty comfortable in there, by the way. You know, I didn't need this shit. I'm pretty good there. And in many ways, we all have that thought. What do I got to do with this for? I was fine in there. I was totally content. I was at peace. Why don't you leave me alone? Because it's time to get to work. Because in our dormant state, prior to entering the womb, our soul and our spirit are within the portal, the bardo, the in-between state, the spirit realm. And it's beautiful and peaceful. I can tell you, having resided within the portal for a long time, 9 days in a coma, and hovering back and forth between there ever since, it is beautiful and peaceful. You don't want to leave. It is complete and total contentment. You don't desire anything. Your ego, personality, your consciousness, and your personal ego-driven thoughts and mind is virtually dormant. Your soul, your eternality, your true self is present. And so it's not tainted or shrouded by all this material desiring and things and perceptions. It's a pure state. You know, you don't want to leave the womb because after you've left the spirit realm to inhabit the womb, you're in both. You are very conscious within the womb. Your mind is operating at a very high level. And again, it's not quite physical yet. And as you approach the birth time, hey, I'm getting a little cramped in here, I got to get out. You start kicking, wiggling around, and I got to get out because it no longer serves you anymore. It's the time for that paradigm, that system of existence to come to an end, to die, to be born. The womb represents this. The mouth of the uterus, the fish, represents this entire concept of birth and rebirth. The beautiful thing about the layers of this is that it has all of them. It is simply physical, material birth, human birth, or any material birth, life, and also the figurative, the rebirth, the concept of becoming new and fresh. Because when we're born, our memory is deleted. We don't remember our past lives. Thank God, we'd all go mad. We get a fresh start, like we do every morning. Let's face it, I'm a pretty dark and serious individual in many ways, and yet I'm also kind of fun, I think people find. And I go to bed sometimes thinking like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I can't possibly figure out all these problems that are going with my career and all that. What? It's overwhelming. I see it seems impossible to deal with a world that's madness. Fucking madness. People out there are dumb as shit. And I go to bed and I'm thinking, I can't deal with this. And yet I wake up in the morning feeling positive and refreshed and ready to go. It's weird. I don't know where that's coming from. It's really bizarre. I'm having my morning coffee and I'm smiling and I'm like enjoying myself. Not just because the Dodgers won last night. That would add to it, but because I see possibilities. I see potential. By the end of the day, as the world has beat me up, as it does all of us, infiltrated into my consciousness and thoughts with its realities, at the end of the day, I see the lack of potentials and the lack of possibilities. I see the limitations and the constraints that the mature world has on us, a prison cell. But when I wake up in the morning, through rest and revitalization, I see possibilities and potential. We need this. We need to die to live again. We need a rest. And again, this is exactly what the portal is for. Why God has designed this system where we die and we live. And out of his grace and mercy, we forget what we were and get to begin again. Indeed. But Krishna, you remember many of your past lives. You talk about it a lot, and you may remember in detail. Yes, I do. And in many ways, it's painful. Like having a very long, long day, and you're exhausted from. I've had a very long, long life, and I remember many lifetimes, and I am exhausted from them. And yet, as you can see, I'm also pretty intense and energetic. As we develop our consciousness, as we consider and get to do this, particularly with this flow of 13 and Libra going into Scorpio and no moon and all these things, we get to celebrate and connect with this concept and understanding that I'm eternal. There's a part of me that lives on all the time, whether I'm conscious of it or not. And we can, while the layers are thin between the spirit and the material, we can access this. It's a great time for doing past life regression, Halloween, and October. Because indeed, I don't want to remember tens of thousands of past lives, which, let's face it, most of them are going to be like average or not that great. And even the great ones, whatever, that can just make you go like, well, I want to be like that again. It's a mixed bag. Some good, some bad. As I was on the other side within the portal, and as explained within the portal book, I was offered this rare opportunity with the life review. Everyone gets life review. You see your life pass before your eyes, and you see what you did right and wrong so you can learn from it before you re-enter your body. And I got the offer of multiple life reviews, past life review. And I agreed as I was given this offer. I didn't have to take it. It wasn't forced on me. I was offered it. And I said, yes, but I only want to see lifetimes where I made progress or digressed on my spiritual path. I don't care about material lives, being famous, being cruel, whatever. I don't care about those. I only want to see what I did right and what I did wrong so I can learn from it and be able to progress spiritually on my soul's journey. Other than that, it's trivial and useless. And in this sense, again, as we take advantage of the veils between the material realm and the spirit realm for Halloween 2024, is to be able to access what we can do right, what we can do wrong, to learn from our mistakes and benefit from our successes and our triumphs, to make better choices, to do more than believe I don't believe in afterlife and God. I have direct evidence all the time, as you does everyone else, even atheists. They see it, they just don't want to see it. So we can take advantage of this. I've not done a lot of deliberate work for my passive regression. It's more spontaneous, and then I roll with it. If it's going to unfold in front of me like a cinema and show itself to me, then again, my thing about everything is, what can I learn from this? I don't care what it is. Going to the store, doing a chore, writing a book. What can I learn from this? How can this experience make me a more well-rounded, more developed person with my consciousness? So we can take advantage of this frequency, this flow, this momentum that this Halloween has for us as it exits Libra and enters into Scorpio, with the card of death vibrating within this Halloween, and fellowship for Tungjen. And now the path of Nun, the fish that swims in the deep, mysterious waters. The material realm is Earth. The one in the middle, it's the dense material realm. The sea, take it from a scuba diver, is mysterious. Let me tell you what I love about scuba diving so much, why I'm addicted to it. Because when I'm down there, it's like being on another planet. What you're seeing, you're like, it's like a Dr. Seuss book. It is so bizarre, so strange what you're seeing, and it's all around you. And it's gentle and inviting. It's like you're a guest in this exotic, totally psychedelic, foreign place, otherworldly, completely otherworldly, totally mysterious. And yet, you're just there, a welcome visitor. We can plumb these mysteries. We can explore them. And again, while I'm diving, I'm not there to cause any harm at all. I used to get, what would I get? The mussels and the clams and all that. And there were scallops. Oh my God, I used to get scallops. Loved them. Nothing like a fresh scallop right out of the ocean. I mean, oh my God, eat them raw. Would take back nowadays, again, as a vegan vegetarian, I don't do that. But again, you're surrounded by all this opportunity and the opportunity to experience the mysteries, to go deep into the realm that's foreign and exotic and strange. And yet it exists all the time. As we're having this conversation, there are some very bizarre creatures and bizarre things happening underneath the ocean all the time. And here we are doing this. We're oblivious to it. They're oblivious to us. The ocean, the sea, and the water, and the fish represents our capacity to be curious of the mysteries and then to fathom them, to dive to them, to understand them, to connect with them. We don't have to be satisfied with just the material realm that we experience. We can celebrate and experience all of them together. The Hebrew letter Nun, fish, represents this. And again, as we see where it is on the path, connecting Tifereth, which is beauty, to Netzach, which is victory. And also connects the other way around, from Netzach victory to Tifereth. As we travel up the tree, it's our achievements traveling up towards heart and love and beauty. So what Tifereth means is beauty, but it represents, again, it's not just beauty as in aesthetic beauty. Beauty of soul and spirit and mind. Beauty as in art. The concept of beauty. And again, Netzach, meaning victory, which is achievement and accomplishment, determination. This path of Nun connects them together to remind us that whatever we're trying to achieve and accomplish should be done with beauty and heart. Whatever we're doing with beauty and heart should have a means to an end to it, should have a purpose to it, have some type of goal. In the Halloween context of 2024, exactly that. Trick-or-treaters just don't go to your door and just knock on your door and just sit there. Well, they will at my house this year. They ask for something, and you're obligated to give them something. Here I am. What a hypocrite, right? And I'm enjoying it way too much. I'm going to go to hell, Halloween hell. They can TP my house, but they won't because they got parents and all that. We live in a PC world now, not a TP world. So again, it allows us to contemplate, dive deep these mysteries and celebrate them. This is what we can do. We can take advantage of these themes that are flowing in this. And again, the reason I ordered them where it was either, because again, people have asked me, like, since the system was the numerology and tarot and astrology, and then you go to hexagrams of I-ching and then finish on Kabbalah, which means I've gone from west to far east back to west, Western modality. Because it wasn't a region for me. Kabbalah and the Tree of Life puts a very fine point on all the concepts that precede it. It does it in a beautiful way. And much like I-ching gives you action to take, my interpretations and views of Kabbalah's Tree of Life does exactly the same thing. It tells you what to do, not just what to think and feel, and how to perceive. Astrology tells you what's floating and what's affecting you, what's influencing you. Tarot gives you some insight to what it means and gives you some actions. But once we get to I-ching and Tree of Life, it's explaining to us exactly what to do to take advantage of it, how to make the most of it and get something that helps us on our own soul's journey to develop our consciousness. I, again, like to be true to the old school kind of ways of going. Again, my wizard costume. I'm not dressing up like a cowboy. And I've done that, but I do a dead cowboy. Brandon was a hobo one year, which is kind of a classic kind of costume. He was in Ohio, actually. We went to Ohio. And we didn't know when we went to Ohio, because we're from LA, that trick-or-treating was over by like 8 p.m. This is a small town, Ohio. We didn't even know that. So we're like, what? Like, we're from a city like this. Who does this? So we're like rushing to get out for trick-or-treating for them, right? So we went to like a Walmart, bought some clothes. And what I did is we junked it all up, put some makeup on his face, gave him a hobo hat and all that kind of, and a cigar. And then I took the clothes and I took some spray paint and spray painted the tires on my grandpa's car and then rolled over the clothes. So it looked like he got hit by a car. He had tread marks, tire marks all up and down the clothing. It was awesome. Got a few pieces of candy before they close everything down. Again, the imagination that we can capitalize on. We have all this flowing with us for this Halloween of 2024. Again, I want to remind that this is a collective consciousness, an opportunity to take advantage of a nationwide, worldwide. This is one of the few holidays that in some way or another is celebrated everywhere. As I pointed out in that announcement, the email, the Wisdom's email. They're all related. From the east to the west, we have a collective consciousness that can honor and celebrate the coming of light, the closing of darkness, the shift and change of transformation, and being able to appreciate and access the other side when the barriers are thin. Let me turn this off. See if I got another slide and I'll turn it on. Where's the mouse now? I don't know. If I just click it, see, and then I see it, then it goes away again. gonna click it. There we go. Oh, have a horrifically happy Halloween. So again, I want to remind people that this reading system that I'm sharing with you, I offer this as a service. There we go. And there's the pointer. Doesn't matter what you want to read into. These modalities, tarot, astrology, numerology, my favorite. Well, I shouldn't say favorite. That's the core of it for me. Gives us the opportunity to check the stats, check the data, give us clear insight into the frequencies, vibrations, and atmospheres that are around us. Again, is what astrology does. It shows us what's happening in the sky, what vibrations are affecting our tides in the ocean, and the tides within us, affecting our mood, our perspectives, our perceptions, our tendencies, our curiosities. When we understand them, we get access and the capacity to be able to minimize the bad things and exploit and take advantage of the good things. That's the advantage of these readings. And again, it doesn't matter if I'm doing a reading on a car, for a person, their life purpose, their soul, their personality, or their destiny, or their car, their pet, or a holiday or a day of the year. These are not spiritual things. They're not divine. They are mystical. They are mysterious, and they are in the border, in the boundary between material and the truly spiritual. They're not spiritual within themselves. They are where we go and we cross over. As we travel from the material to the actual spiritual, the divine realm, we travel through the mysterious, mystical realm. It's a wonderful place to visit and celebrate. And again, it's our first point of contemplation as we consider the divine. It's a lot of fun. And I think that is one of the main benefits of Halloween and these so-called dark concepts is it takes these dark concepts and makes them more fun. So Halloween does with trick-or-treaters and kids in costumes. We get to have some fun with it. Any questions or comments? Anybody got a Halloween story they'd like to share? Okay, do you guys ever have any trick-or-treaters? Barb, you don't? Really, in Ohio?
Nope, this is my 10th Halloween here, and for the last 9 years, not one. But the condo association throws a party for all the kids so that they don't have to be out on the
So
streets.
they all go over there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember when Brandon was small, again, it started to shift a little bit from when I was a kid, and they had like the ones at the mall and things were like safe kind of places. And I was like, whatever, like I did it. But again, I'm old school. I'm like, put your costume on and get out there and knock on some doors and beg for some candy, man.
When I was growing up on Long Island, that's how it was. When the sun came up, they were out already, and they didn't, once you turned out your porch light, there was still kids out on the street. It was all day on a weekend. Halloween was just all day.
Every community that I've been in lately, the last several years, is organized. So like where I'm at now, I'm in kind of a gated community, but even when I was in Austin, Texas, that basically there's a newsletter that goes out and tells you when kids will be coming, and that, so it's all very controlled and very safe, which again is great. But again, it sure takes the romance out of it. I respect it and I know it's necessary in this world, but at the same time, I guess I'm not disappointed that it is the way it is. I'm just one that has to be, Chloe, you gonna get any trick-or-treaters?
No, but I have a 3-year-old and we'll be going out into our neighborhood to trick or treat.
And what are you dressing? What is she dressing as?
She's going to be a fairy.
Dead fairy.
She's going to be a dead fairy.
Listen, all you gotta do is go to your local store and get some red anything and put some blood on her. Right?
Lillian is going to be Wednesday Adams.
Oh, that's nice. There you go. There's the true theme.
Got her a wig
About
with
you, anything going
braids, the braided wig, and all that.
on? Right on. Right on. Bijal, any trick-or-treaters? Any plans?
probably will get a knock on the door, but it's Halloween is more of an American thing, adopted quite significantly by the UK. So there's always trick-or-treaters, little kids. As long as they don't splash tomato sauce on the front door, that's fine. They can do it. I saw it on someone's door a couple of years ago.
So yeah, I guess if I'm handing out candy, I'll usually dress up. And again, I used to have strobe lights in the garage and all that kind of stuff. Carol, don't you got anything to say? Kara? She's there.
I'm here. I'm just listening. That's
Any trick-or-treaters?
we never do. We live at the end of the world. So
Oh,
I'm going to
right.
my trick-or-treaters this year in Montana.
Yeah, again, it's got a blessing and a curse. The blessing is like, great, I don't feel guilty about not having any candy. Again, the disappointment is that, yeah, it is nice to see the kids. It is fun. They're cute as hell. They really are cute. I mean, there really seem adorable kids out there. But again, dead fairy, okay? Thomas Dead Fairy.
One is being a fairy, but she's way too lively to play dead.
Put some blood on.
These are common signs of a
She's 7. She just turned 7. And
One of my most legendary Halloween costumes. I was 27, I think, and my girlfriend at the time had a coworker that her other job was she worked in a mortuary. Her job was to make up the dead people for funerals.
oh my
Okay?
gosh.
To make them look presentable for open caskets, right? That was her job. She was, you could say, an esthetician, right? And so she agreed to do us up for Halloween. She made us, so we dressed as prom dates. My girlfriend was in a full prom dress. I was in the tuxedo kind of thing, like a big loud tuxedo thing for like prom. And we were dead. Blood, gore, and this woman did the makeup. It was like movie style. It was so top tier. Late shards of glass coming out of my face, literally. And I was like, we were driving to LA. We lived in Orange County at the time. We were driving to LA, and I had to go to some parties. And I said, watch what happens if we get an accident and die on the way. No one will help us. They'll think we're just doing Halloween, And I said, we should pull on the side of the road and just like lay our bodies out, look like we're dead on the road.
Probably get ran over. Just so somebody can say they did it.
Yep.
That's fun though.
All right. Any questions, any comments, anything to wrap up with?
No, just a lot to think about for me.
Well, great. Again, I want to encourage all of you to have some fun. And again, I want to demonstrate that these readings, they're miraculously effective. I don't see myself as psychic. I never have, never will. I know I have some good intuition that fall into that category, but what I love about this system is that in many ways, anyone can do it if they train properly. It's simply like reading the weather. A meteorologist gathers weather data from satellites, and they see what it is, and they're trained to understand where it's going, how it's going to move, what it's going to do. So they predict things. Mystical modalities are the same way. It's not about psychic intuition. It's about being able to understand and be able to read what they mean and how they work together. It's like a weather forecast. So they're very accurate. They're very reliable. And Barb, I especially love you having that big fall tree behind your head. That's really one. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and it's the sun's pretty wide. I had to ditch the jacket. I mean, it's nice out today. Too nice not to be outside.
We've got some nice weather too. So again, I also enjoyed the fact that we had to do this before Halloween so we can see how accurate it's going to be. But again, we can really prove it. But again, basically what we have is these concepts are, what else could there be on Halloween but these kind of things that we've described here. But again, we get these wonderful aspects of all the tarot cards affiliated with this. We have the number 13, we have the death card, we have Libra going to Scorpio with no moon till after midnight. That is absolutely miraculously amazing. So we've got some really wonderful aspects for this. So happy Halloween, horrifically happy Halloween. Enjoy. And yeah. Get some
Happy
candy.
Halloween, everybody.
Happy
Thank you.
Halloween.
Same to you,
Happy
everyone.
Halloween.
Have a good one.
See you all soon. And thank you for
Bye.
sharing this time with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.